in child protective services, and they won't give them back to their loving families because they're making money.
This is a legal system that you're going into. And if you don't know the rules, you will be chewed up and spit out.
If I could say anything to a mother who just got their children detained, you're in a crisis. Yeah. Life feels like it's over. The most important thing is regaining custody of your children.
The child welfare system at its core is designed to protect children who need protection, okay? And that's key, is who need protection.
So social workers, out of fear, will remove more children rather than only remove those children that truly need to be removed.
It's okay. It's okay.
This isn't someone stole your car. Someone broke into your house. This is someone took your child, your flesh and blood.
It doesn't say on this order that it was not proven. It says untrue. True. I immediately knew that, okay, well, this ain't over.
Were there signs there? Were there no signs? Did I miss them? Did I catch them? At this point, I honestly don't know.
Families only get a finite amount of time to reunify.
I came into this field to help families, not destroy them.
The difference between the criminal system and the child welfare system is substantial. You have more rights as a criminal than you do as a parent.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Georgette True, and I'm the co-host for Fight CPS with Miss G. And my guest today is Nitra. She's going to share her story in a minute with us. And I also work for the law office of Vincent Davis. There's a few things I want to discuss with you guys first, okay? I received a call yesterday for somebody that wanted to hire the law firm. And actually, when I told her she has to pay a retainer, she said, with all the evidence and the proof that I have, you guys should take my case for free. Now, what you guys need to understand is that your case, your court-appointed attorney, for example, still gets paid. They don't get paid by you, but they still get paid. They don't do things pro bono. So when you call a private law firm, don't expect to get pro bono, because attorneys work for free. Don't work for free. They have to get paid for their services. Furthermore, when I told her that, she said, Jesus is going to come after you, or something about Jesus. Now, I'm a Christian woman, okay? But Jesus even said, pay Caesar what you owe Caesar, right? Jesus didn't say go work for free. Jesus said labor, right? We all labor. We have to labor for our foods, for our needs. So it's sad that people have that type of mindset, because once you mention a retainer, then they all lose their minds, and then they start writing bad reviews and pretend, that we're, say we're the devil or we're scammers or what have you. But this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Another thing, when people lose their case, for example, some people lose their case because A, they lied to the attorney, or B, they did something else that they're not supposed to do on their case, and then they blame the attorney for losing their case. And then they write bad reviews. Or a social worker is pissed off and she writes a bogus review. Or an angry employee that got fired, for example, writes a bad review, pretend they're clients, etc., etc. And, it's sad that people think we're scammers because we're asking them to pay a retainer. We all have to pay retainers. Even if I need legal help, I have to pay a retainer Just because I work in a law firm, it doesn't mean the attorneys that work with us is going to help us for free. You know? So you guys need to understand this has nothing to do. If you can't afford a retainer, then look for someone else. But don't call us the devil and scammers and say the B word and the hoe word and the cunt word. I mean, this is so ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Mr. Davis does shows, right, for everybody, to educate everybody about the laws. He even takes he even does a show on Saturdays for 3 hours where he can take questions. You know, people talk about their story, or if they have a question to ask, he gives the public that, you know. It is sad that people attack the character just because they don't get what they want. It's becoming too much and it's ridiculous. Okay. So again, I mentioned this to you guys several times. Do not hire a family law attorney. Look for a juvenile dependency attorney. Do not hire a family law attorney. A family law attorney will take a smaller retainer, right? And then they will not be able to help you because it's completely different courts, completely different jurisdiction, completely different everything. Okay. Family law is lower courts. Juvenile is higher courts. So if you have an order in family law that's custody order, for example, and CPS becomes involved, the juvenile court takes over. Guess what? That juvenile court supersedes anything that the family law court has. And is considered void, actually, because they can change the order, obviously. So another thing too, it's people always look at people trying to help them as evil. And you're not taking advice. You're not listening to advice, but rather you're doing your own thing. Don't expect to win a case when you are hard-headed, you're not following instructions, and you tend to do your own thing. You retaliate against a social worker. I had a person that called me yesterday. I'm not going to say who, but this woman said we are scammers and the devil because apparently she has evidence. She wants to sue the department with the evidence that she has, but she wants our office to do it completely pro bono. Right? Now, no, we're not going to do pro bono work. We don't do pro bono work here. And for her to say what she said to me, it just showed me a lot about her character. I'm not going to say exactly what she said because it was horrible. Horrible. And she thinks her case is different than everybody else's case. She thinks her case is special. What you guys need to understand, your case is not special. Your case is the same like everybody else. All mothers out there and fathers are fighting for their children. Grandparents are fighting for their grandkids. Relatives are fighting for their grandkids. Everybody's case is complicated. When you guys wait to get to our office, after the case has been complicated already, the court-appointed attorney already screwed up your case a million times. The social workers wrote on the report so many different lies, so many different fabrications, and you come to our office 10 months later or 6 months later, our office now, whoever the attorney will be, they have to reverse all that. They have to come up with strategies to reverse all that crap that was written on your report to begin with. So don't expect the attorneys to pay for free, work for free, and not be able to pay their own bills. Because when I ask people, can you work for free? People say to me, no. Then why do you expect attorneys to work for free? But then when something goes wrong, the first thing they do is blame the attorney. No, the first thing you need to do is blame the social workers and the court-appointed attorneys that screwed up your case to begin with. So let me make that very clear. Because people that know me, I speak my mind. I don't sugarcoat anything. Because I don't know how to sugarcoat. I don't know how to go around the subject. I just speak it. So there's no need for all that. It's ridiculous. There's no need for all this. If you guys cannot afford Mr. Davis's consultation, one-on-one consultation, then I suggest you go on the radio shows on Saturdays from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can ask your question or you can talk about your story with Mr. Davis. So let's just, I just wanted to make clear with everybody on that. Now, the new law that I wanted to talk about is called the Nancy Skinner Law. It's a law, Nancy Skinner Law SB 354. It says, so Governor Newsom, it came in effect, he signed that order on January 1st of this year, that if a family member has priors, for example, like decades, like say a relative has a prior history of arson or theft or misdemeanor or something, a criminal record, but that doesn't justify the person he is or she is today. The new law, the old law, I mean, the social workers would use that as hindrance to place the children with a family member. And they bring back, like the devil does, brings back your history right in front of you and use that as hindrance. No. So this new law states that they can't use that anymore because that has nothing to do with that person's current situation, meaning they bettered themselves. People make mistakes all the time. That doesn't mean that 10 years past or 20 years past or 30 years past is who that person is today. So this is very important for you guys to understand. It's called the Nancy Skinner Law, the new law that Governor Newsom signed as of January 1st of 2022. Also, the legislator in California law pertaining to social workers, you can record a social worker. You can actually audio record her or video record the social worker doing any type of interview or investigation between you and them. They consented to that the day they became social workers, by the way. But they don't want you to know that because a criminal doesn't want to be caught. So social workers are criminals. They lie. They manipulate. They deceive. They write false information to get the children. They don't get they steal the children. They literally kidnap kids from parents. However, the kids who are being abused are not removed, but yet they're taking good kids from good parents. And then the other population in America think, oh, they must be really bad parents, you know what I mean? For the kids to be taken from them. Unless they themselves witness and experience what a good parent goes through with the system, they will never know. So I'm telling everyone out there who's listening to my show, do not judge, because you one day will witness the pain that parents go through, especially when they're innocent. Do not judge others because the system is corrupt, from district attorneys to court pretenders, which is court appointed attorneys, social workers, judges. How many times have I told you guys judges are stupid? Because they see the truth. They see evidence of the truth, but they still believe the lie that the social worker write down in the reports. There's no checks and balances, nothing. So who really runs the show in the court is not the judge, it's the social worker. Because judges automatically believe what they write. And when you go against them in a way, we're not against them retaliation, but when you go against them and tell them, oh, this is the law, here is the law, you can't do that. And then they get pissed off. Why they get pissed off? Because you cannot tell a sociopath or a narcissist, right? They screwed up. Because they gain power by controlling you. So basically, they are happier people because they're cowards. A narcissist or a sociopath, they're cowards. They don't have their own identity. So how you feed them? By giving them power, showing them feelings, emotions, right? Letting them know that you know the law. You have to use strategy to deal with these types of demons. They're demonic people. Demons, like I said many times, demons need a body to nest in it. So they don't hire people with compassion or common sense. It doesn't work in the system. The system is fucked up and twisted on all levels. And I need you guys, before you react, before you talk to a social worker, please contact an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, talk to everybody you know. Talk to people that you know, family members, friends, college friends, school friends, whatever. If you collect as many as you can from them, you'll be able to get the retainer to help you. But again, don't expect the attorneys to work for free. Like I said, even the court appointed piece of shit attorneys still get paid, just not from you. Okay? So, young lady, thank you for being patient. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lenitra McGuire.
Lenitra, I know that your case is in California, but we're not going to say what county. Go ahead and let us know a little bit about your case, baby girl.
Okay, so last year, around March of 2021, I had an accidental drug overdose, and I woke up in the hospital, and the police officer was questioning me, and I would say like trying to get me to confess to some stuff, so like trying to get me to say stuff that I didn't even know what he was talking about. And at the end of it, he told me that my daughter was removed from my home because my youngest was in the home when the overdose did happen. And I wasn't aware that she was in the home because she was at a neighbor's house. So when they told me they came in, she looked confused, and that's why they're taking her away. And they came, I think, the next day after I got out of the hospital, which is the social worker. Oh, well, let me tell you, remind you, she called me in the hospital asking, like, do I have any relatives that would take my child? She asked me, did I have any other children outside of my youngest? And I told her, yeah. And she was like, well, we're going to come to the house and we're going to assess it to see if the allegations are true. So she comes with two sheriffs and just hands me a detention warrant and wants me to sign a piece of paper stating that they could do whatever they want to my kid without my permission. So she was like, your custody rights is taken away, but not your parental rights. So I'm like, well, if my parental rights is not taken away, I'm not going to consent and sign any paperwork. And I was like, and for my purposes, I'm going to record you guys because you guys are being hostile. Once the sheriff's like, I should have gotten it beforehand, but the sheriff was telling me, like, I can make it where you won't ever get your kid back. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and record this conversation because now you're threatening my situation. And then the social worker was like, I don't give you permission to, record me. And then the sheriff, I was asking them, like, what's your badge number? What is your name? Because I want to know, everything I need to know when I go to court. So they take my children, and then they set me a hearing date for me to go see them about the allegations. And so they put me on random testing. They recommended me to get in like a drug program and all these other things like counseling and stuff. So, but they were only having me do supervised visitations, only 2 hours once a week. So I was attending doing that. And then all of a sudden I get a complaint from the actual police department for a different court where I live at. And it was just a complaint. So I wanted to see what the complaint was. And then the complaint came out to be that they're trying to charge me with willful cruelty to a child. So I knew right then and there what the sheriffs had told me.
Wait. They want to charge you with what again?
Willful cruelty to a child outside of the juvenile court.
How is that? I don't understand.
They're trying to say that because I didn't know what they were doing because they didn't have permission to go into my house. But I guess because probable cause of the accidental overdose, they were taking pictures of my home. And I don't know when I came home the next day, I seen like my house looked at just a complete mess. So they took pictures of my home. They said that I had rotten food in my refrigerator. I had just went shopping that day. So I was like, how do I don't have any food? How do I have rotten food in my refrigerator? And so they put all this stuff into a report. And then they took my statement when my mental state was altered and put that in the report. And saying that my child was in the home when the incident happened. And what else did they say? They said, they were saying like, the living conditions of my home. So like in my home where I stay, I have low income. And I've been contacting the county building, everything, telling them like, hey, you need to come and exterminate these apartments. They're roach infested and stuff like that. No matter how much I try to keep the house clean, they're gonna keep coming. No matter how much I bomb the house, they're gonna move to the next unit and then come right back if they do the same thing. So the living condition with the roaches was true, but it wasn't like my house was dirty. So when I came home, my house was filthy. Like there was bags everywhere. Like I was like, what did they do in my home? So I'm like, I'm not there. So when I come back from the hospital, I'm seeing this big old mess. So they're saying because my oldest, she likes to play with slime. She likes to do little experiments, and she asks me if she could put it in the refrigerator. They took pictures of that and said that I fed those to my children, and that was spoiled rotten food. And I'm like, tested it, you would have known it was slime. So they were trying to make me look really, really bad. So I looked at the PC code, what they were trying to charge me with, and then now I have the PC code of what they're complaining about, saying, "Oh, we're gonna charge you willful cruelty to your child because of the accidental overdose and and the living conditions of my home."
Oh my gosh. Why am I surprised? Nothing should surprise me. Did they take pictures of that, you said? Or no?
Yeah, they took pictures of it, and they're like saying that I had trash all the way up to the ceiling, and I'm like, how? There was really, really no trash in the trash can. And then I had clothes in a bag because we were bagging everything up, like the thing tells you to do, and get all the clothes and stuff out the house so you could bomb home. And I had things like that in the bags. I had foods in bags, and they were saying that my house didn't have no food, and they used that as I had my house was under, like, not in good condition for my kid to be there.
Right, right. That's not actually, wow. If say the house is not in good conditions, just assume that they're right.
Hmm.
Um, they could have easily said, "Hey, clean this house up," right?
Yeah.
They could have sent people. They could have sent you somebody to help you clean the house, right? But what do they do
Hmm.
instead? They would rather pay foster parents money, right, than to have the children stay with the mother and help the mother out.
Hmm.
Perhaps maybe advise you. Next time this happens, it doesn't look good for you. Something like that. I'm just giving you an
Yeah.
example. I have seen a video. I'll give you an example. Last year, one of our callers, one of our people that follows the show, she lives in a different state. And her husband have cameras outside the home, but they're hidden cameras. So when you're outside, you cannot see the camera, but they can see it. They have it hidden where nobody can tell there's a camera.
Hmm.
So when social workers contacted them the week before, um, the parents said, "You know what? We're gonna protect ourselves." They went to Costco, got themselves cameras, and they installed it. Now, all of a sudden, a day before the social worker comes, on the camera, it shows somebody wearing a hoodie, took a bag of trash, and scattered it all over the yard. The social worker came that morning, meaning the social worker arrived at their house around 7:30 a.m. from what I saw in the video. That was done at 2:30 in the morning. So the father and the mother of the child was like, wait a minute, this is not us. We don't live like this, right? So they
Hmm.
looked at the video and they saw that somebody deliberately put the trash there all over the yard. Like they're the trash looked like they really were dirty. But then inside the house, they had a neat house, clean house. But in the social worker report, she wrote the house was trashed. She took pictures of the trash in the yard that was deliberately put there, by the way, the night before she arrived. And then inside the house, there was no mess, nothing, because I've seen videos from inside the house.
Hmm.
Nothing. But in the report sheet, they put dirty laundry all over the place. There's a mess, roaches. What else? No food in the refrigerator. Nothing. like that was going on in the house. And I thought at that time when I saw the video, I thought I believed like nothing would surprise me. But what surprised me is actually someone deliberately throwing the trash, a bag of trash, right? They took it and they went everywhere. We're not talking about a white bag of trash like a little one. We're talking about a big one. So I realized that they actually send people to deliberately sabotage parents.
Mm-hmm.
Because who else would have done that the night before, right? The morning before, early morning before the social worker arrives at 7:30 a.m. Think about it, right? So it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
The parents are not going to do that because guess what? The parents didn't even know she was coming because she never told them when she was coming.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing they did is prepare them with the camera just in case to protect themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So just because they said that about you, Lanitra, it doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
Exactly. And I know it wasn't true. So I was
I
just
know.
so shocked. I'm like, y'all can reduce this and
Yeah.
prosecute somebody something that you have you can make, you know how they always say a picture says 1,000 words, but
Yep.
you'll never know the truth unless you come to that person and know what their background is or what their story is. You just assume and you just automatically just judge.
Exactly. Exactly. But what they do is they actually, um, how can I say it? They actually deliberately set people up to fail. Like literally. I'm not even making that shit up. They actually literally set you guys up to fail. And it saddens me that the police is it saddens me that the police is in on it too.
Mm-hmm.
It
They
really
definitely.
saddens me because it's serve and protect. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everyone that's supposed to serve and protect, and also the social workers are supposed to be doing the right thing. So basically, there's nothing in our government that actually we are the people. We actually pay their salary.
Mm-hmm.
We pay their salary,
That's true.
and actually, the 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 poor people pay more taxes. Like kind of like they take more money from them,
Mm-hmm.
and
I'm
yet you're hurting your people, and you're making money off of their children. What really makes me angry more also is that they would rather pay the foster parents money than to help a mother, for example, who is in a shelter because she lost her job or
Mm-hmm.
she's in a shelter because of domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
They would rather, I mean, they're supposed to help her find housing if she has children, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to do that, but they don't do that. So they would rather take the children from the mother, steal the children, put them in a foster home, and the home gets food stamps, cash aid, Medi-Cal, money every month for the children, et cetera, et cetera. Why can't you put that for the mom?
Mm-hmm.
The actual blood connection to the child.
Exactly.
It doesn't, it just, that's why I call them demonic. Demons, their purpose is to divide and conquer. The devil purpose is to divide and conquer. Because when the house is divided against itself, it crumbles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So demons, the social workers, the district attorneys, the judges, the court appointed attorneys, this is a house. If they go against each other, it will crumble. And they're not going to go against each other.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not. So they continue to protect each other. That's why
Yeah.
oftentimes a lot of people lose their appeal with the state. Well, they're not going to
Mm-hmm.
side against the judges,
Mm-mm.
even though they're supposed to be mutual, right?
Right.
And that's not the case. They're not gonna go against each other. So the devil comes and takes our children, steals our children from us because guess what? That's what cripples the parent.
Mm-hmm.
It's not stealing your car, stealing your TV, it's not breaking in your home, stealing your money, it's stealing your children.
Yep.
That's worse. Because once your soul, your children becomes your soul.
Mm-hmm.
Their DNA stays in the mother for the rest of the mother's life. That's proven, by the way. And that's why mothers sense their children. They feel their pain. It's a connection.
Yeah.
So that's a gift from God. God gave us that gift. He gave us the gift, the life giver gift. That's the life giver gift
Mm-hmm.
that God gave women. Okay? So therefore, they stole your soul from you. And they expect the mother to stay in one piece. They expect the mother not to cry, not to show any emotions, because if she cried or showed emotion, that means she's unstable. No,
Yeah.
you piece of shit, she's not unstable. You caused this. You caused the children the harm, not the mother. The children did not feel pain with the mother. They felt pain when you stole them from the mother. The children, it's sad, the children faces trauma, grief, and loss.
Yeah.
And when the children shows that, right, in the foster stupid home, then all of a sudden it's the mother's fault. No. Social workers, you guys are demons, like 100% demon. You have no soul. No soul. You guys are empty and dark inside because they don't take accountability to what they're doing, and they brainwash the children, by the way. They
Mm-hmm.
brainwash them. If the mother doesn't show up for the visitation, guess what? Your mama did not show up because she didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
But they never tell the children it's because we canceled the mother's visitation. So they teach the children the grief and the loss. I mean, the children experience grief and loss and trauma because of everything they're being fed.
Yeah.
Then the foster parent, right? They say, "Oh, your mom does drugs," right?
Right. That's true. That's what
Because
they
it's
say.
in the report. The social worker wrote that in the report.
Mm-hmm.
But how did the mom do drugs when the mother never done drugs or the father never done drugs, right? By giving you an appointment, telling you to go to that appointment that 15 minutes before the center closes, and it takes you over 30 minutes to get there, it's closed, and then they put automatic positive.
Mm-hmm.
They say it's positive, even though you didn't take a drug test, because they told you to go 15 minutes before they closed. This happens a lot, by the way. Or they tell them to go at a certain time when it's 2 hours away from the location. You can't go to a hospital or another doctor. You have to go to their own facility.
Yeah.
And they make it harder. 2
Mm-hmm.
hours away, an hour away, 3 hours away. We had a client that the facility was 6 hours away.
That's a long day. That's a long
I know.
drive.
So he was like, I can't do that. Well, it's an automatic positive. Positive? So when you go to the judge, in front of the judge looks at the report and says, oh, it's positive. The mother does meth. What? How did you get meth from that? It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Then the court-appointed pretender attorney, he or she tells you, oh, you better agree to it. Say you did it so you can get your kids back.
Mm-hmm.
Some parents actually say they did it just to get their kids back, but it's a lie. You're consenting that you're a criminal by them scaring you, telling you to say you did it when you didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get your kids back. Then, by law, they show a little piece of paper while the parents consented to it. They don't say, oh, we told them that if you don't sign it, you're not going to get your kids back. They don't say that. They tell you that. So when the parents say that in court, the judge shuts them up.
They sure do.
Yeah. So the parents cannot talk in court. They cannot express themselves. They cannot, nothing.
And that's what they just did to me recently. Because this on February 16th, I was supposed to get family maintenance leave for my youngest to come home. And the social worker calls me up and says, "Hey, you tested positive 3 times for ethanol." And I'm like, "Okay." The first time I'm like, "No." The second time, no, because you guys, I already told the social worker, you guys don't tell me I can't take certain medications. You guys didn't say, "Oh, you couldn't drink alcohol or you couldn't have a glass of wine." You guys didn't say that. You said, "Don't do no drugs." So she gives me a form. She tells me about the Schedule C1 and all these things that they list right here is everything that they consider a drug. If you drink, you're an alcoholic. If you smoke marijuana, it's a controlled substance. Everything else is a controlled substance. So they're like, "You're an addict. You're an addict." And I'm like, "No." And at the time I found that I was pregnant, I went to go drug test for my outpatient program. And I also tested for, CFS. They tell me the same day I go test, I tested positive for alcohol. And I'm like, that's bullcrap because my social worker never mentioned anything about me testing positive for any alcohol. And when she ever asked me, I told her what kind of medications I was taking. How am I supposed to know if my medication has ethanol in it? So she's like, if you drink some NyQuil and it has 10% alcohol in it, you can't drink that. And I'm like, you just now telling me this. You didn't tell me this before. So
But
it's like,
wait,
you guys. Oh, go
but
ahead.
wait, let me interrupt you for a second. Sorry to do that. However, they sell these over the counter.
Yeah.
And if you're sick and you take it, then you can't take it. Then why in the name of God are you selling it, you bastards?
Thank you.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you selling it? Why do doctor prescribe medication and all of a sudden that medication turns into something else in the blood test or the
Mm-hmm.
urine test? And then all of a sudden, look, pharmaceutical companies are a company is $1 trillion a year company.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they give people medication. But when a mother refuses to take medication because it's narcotic after birth, for example, when she had a C-section, when she refuses to take that medication, it's like, I think it's called Percocet or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
When the social worker goes after her because she refused to take the narcotic drug for pain.
Yeah.
So the mother says, I can endure my pain, but I'm breastfeeding. I don't want to hurt my child.
Right.
That's considered illegal to them.
Wow.
It makes no sense. See, I get mad because the shit that they do makes no sense. The mother said, I don't want to take Percocet for the pain because I want to not hurt my child in the breast milk.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wise woman, you would
Yeah.
think. So she's like, I'm a woman. I will endure the pain, but I don't want my child to suffer. That's called sacrifice, you piece of shits. But what do they tell the mother? The doctor reports the mother to CPS. This is a true freaking story because she refused to take the Percocet.
They do way too much.
Doctors have contracts with pharmaceutical companies. You know that, right? Because they implement certain type of drug.
Wow.
People don't know this. So when you work together, the doctors work together with the pharmaceutical companies, guess what? They start giving drugs. They start reporting people to CPS, even if the drug is bad for the child, and the mother and the father say, for example, no, this is not good for my child. I don't want to use that.
Mm-hmm.
Not for my kid. Then all of a sudden they are reported to CPS.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind. And they go and just steal children.
Yes, they
So
do.
I read this last week on my show. Okay. The government owns your child. The state owns your child because through mandated education, right? Schools.
Yeah.
The schools are mandated. So guess what? The state owns your children. Like
Wow.
literally, we don't own our children. It just blows my mind. There's so much that I share with you guys, and I read and I read and I read, research. it just blows my mind how corrupt this state is. It's corrupt. So Title IV, the state gets money from the federal side for each child taken or stolen from the home and placed in a non-relative's home. Remember that. In the United States, parents do not own their children. The state does. The United States took ownership of the children through public education because it's mandated.
Wow.
So investigators falsify records to keep their jobs. People, you need to understand that investigators falsify records to keep their freaking jobs.
They do.
The more you lie, Child Protective Services, they keep their freaking jobs. Okay? Now, that's why oftentimes DCFS workers face a lot of charges against them. But, however, the worker that lies, she or he gets promoted. They gave them promotion. I mean, I can't emphasize enough to you. When I started working with Davis, Mr. Davis, the worst thing you could do to him is lie to him. You know? And I told him, I said, Davis, you really honor the truth. Truth is very important to him, right? But with the social workers, they actually don't honor the truth. They will promote you if you lie and when you lie. It's hard to believe, right? It's hard, right?
It is.
Because if I lie to my boss, who is Mr. Davis, Attorney Davis, he's not going to be very happy with me. And I highly doubt he would give me a promotion. Because, oh my God, you're dealing with people's livelihood, their children. Their children is their livelihood. So how are you going to promote me because I stole children from their parents and I lied about it? That's the easiest job in the fucking world.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'll make more money if I lie. I'll get promoted when I lie. Why you get promoted and you make more money? Because you protected the supervisor.
I'll tell you about them supervisors.
Right. They protect the supervisor. So social workers lie to protect their supervisor.
Yeah.
When that happens, the system sees it as, hey, you're actually worthy for the promotion because, hey, you're protecting the house from falling. If a social worker, say, for example, became a social worker and she expressed awareness of another social worker lying, right? That social worker that expressed that awareness gets fired. That's when they fire her. Or quits. Or quits. Either way. I've spoken to social workers that worked for, I think they said they worked for like a few months, 3 months, and they went on their first case, Lanitra, and they went back to the supervisor and said, oh, the mother is fine, food in the refrigerator, there's no active abuse or violence. The neighbor retaliated against the mom because they wouldn't, what was it? Oh, because they had a pit bull. And the neighbor didn't like pit bulls. And the mother and the father showed the social worker at the time, the new worker, the text messages that the neighbor said, I'm going to report you to Child Protective Services because of the pit bull.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. So the new worker, she's been there for like 3 months, I think she said. And she went and told her supervisor, everything is okay. I saw evidence. And the supervisor said, no, you go immediately and take the children. So she said, no, I'm not going to do that. So she said, then you can't keep your job.
Wow.
And what is this worker going to do? She's going to go to the state and say, file a complaint. Guess what? Like I said, a house divided against itself is not going to stand. The state is going to protect the supervisor.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how it works in the United States. And like the other day, I was talking to a parent and I said, this is the new world order. And he agreed with me.
I agree too.
Yeah, because they're starting it everywhere now.
Yeah, the way to get to the parent is get through their children. You know, and in the last days, it speaks about all of these things that's going to be happening,
Yeah.
and it's happening right before our eyes. And people just think like, "Oh no, it's pretend." No, it's real. For the ones who's definitely experiencing it, they can definitely
Yeah.
feel it and see it.
Yep. Exactly. Scotty said we were told the fastest way to get our daughter home was to do their treatment plan, safety plan. It's, well, they call it safety plan in California, Scotty, and waive the factual basis, because if even one claim they made was true, we would lose it. We would lose, and it would take a lot longer. And the social worker lied on paper in court. It's true that you have more rights as a criminal than as a parent. That is so true. Mr. Davis, actually, when Mr. Davis first said that to me, I couldn't believe it. I said to him, I said, how can you have more rights as a criminal than as a parent? It blows my mind.
Yeah.
Because our kids, we don't own them. People don't understand. One of my closest friends refuses to have children. I've known her for 15 years. She refuses to have children. And I always asked her why back in the day.
Yeah.
It's not safe to bring children in the United States. And I never understood what she meant until I realized what's going on. They don't care about your kids.
They
Make
don't.
money off of your kids. To me, they say the cartels or whatever they make. They always say the cartels and the mafia. And all. You're worse than the cartels and the mafia,
Oh yeah.
because
Big time.
you're making it look like it's legally okay to steal the child from the parent. You're setting them up to fail.
Yeah.
At least the cartels and the mafia don't pretend to be something they're not.
That's true.
They know who they are. But you mother F's pretend to be something you're not.
Mm-hmm. That's so true.
There's so much, like, like, I'll give you an example. Mr. Davis, when I started working with him, he said, just text his book about CPS, the
Mm-hmm.
laws and all that, text it to people. And I said, but you sell it on Amazon. He said, forget Amazon. Text it to people. They need to be educated.
Yeah.
So I text the book to everybody I speak with. No joke. Everyone I speak with, whether they downloaded a copy or not, I text it to them. Because that book, one of the clients told us it was like her Bible at the moment. And everything he wrote in that book is the law. And he breaks it down to people. When I read that book, oh my God. A lot of shit that they do, of course, they have no remorse, right? They have no remorse. They don't take accountability. The social workers are protected by the judges. The judges know they lie. Judges know they lie.
Mm-hmm.
But the judges are stupid because they know of the lie. But they still, they know it's a lie. But yet they still give the power to the social worker.
Oh yeah, they sure do.
And the truth is in front of them, but they still believe the lie.
Mm-hmm.
That is the definition of stupid. I'm not making that up. So when I call them stupid, it's for a huge reason. Because parents are victims in all this. And children, they're traumatized, you bastards. They're traumatized because of what you're doing to them. Has nothing to do with the mother or the father. And foster parents, you guys can all go to hell at the moment. Why? Because you believe everything that's written down.
Yeah, they sure do.
Yeah.
Whatever's on that paper, they're going to believe it.
Exactly. And they retaliate against the parents. They actually, I'll give you an example. Foster mother refuses to let the mother and the father see their children because the social worker wrote down that they do meth. The mother is a registered nurse. This is a true story. And the father is a truck driver. Yeah.
Wow. So imagine what a little ink and black and white could really do.
It's exactly. Exactly. So that's, I mean, it's like, it's disgusting. And there was a foster parent that had 15 kids. 15 kids she's fostering.
It's a
But
lot.
yet, if the mother has a 2-bedroom apartment, for example, or a 1-bedroom apartment, let me make it easier, 1-bedroom apartment, and she has 2 kids, oh, it's not big enough. It's not big enough. You don't have the right situation for the children. What?
And it's
Kids
always
would rather be
personal.
in the box as long as they're with their parents.
Yeah. And
Right?
everything is all personal. It's
Yes.
all, I feel like this and I feel like that. Well,
Yep.
I feel like you're not capable of having this job. Like,
Right.
there's kids really suffering who, like, I think it was one show I was watching. It was saying, like, if a child's being abused, they're going to
Yep.
be happy to get away from that abuser. They're not going to
Yep.
want to go back to that home. But if a
Nope.
child is being nurtured and being loved and cared for, that kid is going to be crying every
Yep.
single day for their parents. Every
Yep.
single day.
Yep.
And
And they
that's what,
get traumatized.
yeah. And
And
my
then
daughter
the
is
children, yeah,
definitely traumatized.
yeah. And the children, they want to, in their head, they want to make believe everything is going to be okay. So what they do, they settle in, but in the back of their head, they still carry on the trauma.
Mm-hmm.
But they're keeping it silent because they don't want to get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Or the foster parents tricks them, or the social worker actually lies to the children all the time and tell them things that's not true. You need to, say this, or else you're not going to get your iPhone. There are kids who outgrew the system who tell me social workers would buy them phones, but they cannot call their mom and dad, because if she sees
Wow.
or he sees they're calling their parents, she's going to take the phone from them. And of course, any young child want to have a phone.
Mm-hmm.
They
That's the new
bribe
thing.
children. They bribe them. Foster parents bribe them. It's endless. It's endless.
It is endless.
It is endless. It really, really is. And I just want to tell everybody out there, be strong, know the law, educate yourself. If you can't afford a consultation with Mr. Davis, you can call him on the radio shows. It's every Saturday from 7 to 9 p.m. Ask a question. He will always ask people, do you have a story to tell or a question to ask? Ask your question. Be ready, be prepared, and write the answer down. Or you can go back and watch the show to get the answer again. But be prepared. If you can't afford an attorney, at least get a free advice through the radio show. I mean, guys have to understand, get a loan if you have to. Have somebody help you financially. Do everything you can to try to hire an attorney that is not court appointed. And don't lie to your attorney that you hire. Be honest with them and tell them everything truthfully. And don't retaliate against the social workers or threaten them. Don't threaten them. And don't record them and send them the recorder. That's a sign of threat.
Yeah, that is.
Because they
They
will
take your
retaliate
phone.
against you. Yeah. That's a sign of threat. So don't do it. Because in their mind, they see that as threat. So what are they going to do? Retaliate against you even more. So it's best to collect evidence, hire an attorney, and have your attorney look at the evidence. I'm going to have to call it an end to the show, you guys. Lanetra, thank you so much for joining me today, honey. God bless you. And if you need Davis's book, let me know. I'll text it to you if you like.
Okay.
And God bless you all, and be strong, and keep fighting for your children.
All right, we will. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.